Hey, what's up guys? I'm Raga.
Hey, I'm Lucas.
And today we're going to do a little compare and contrast. We're going to talk about the Contra 1-strut versus the 3 and 3-strut kites in general for foiling. And Lucas, we were chatting earlier and it sounds like you obviously know both of these kites intimately.
Yep.
You're now foiling with the Contra 1-strut.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess out of the gate, can you hit me with like some of the differences between 3-strut kites in general and why you're going for the 1-strut these days?
Yeah, for sure. And like as foiling has evolved, we started with these new foils, it was sick, and we were all evolving these better wings, faster wings, more lift, whatever, right? But now the attention kind of shifted on towards the kite side as well. In the beginning, anybody who could ride on any kite you had, right? It was just like, and for the record, you still can go out on any kite, but
yeah, I learned on a 3-strut Contra actually.
Exactly, kind of like the purpose of the video. But so yeah, in the beginning, it's kind of what you had. You went out on a foil, and that's what you had. You enjoyed it, and it worked great. And now they improved it into having way lighter kites, way more nimble kites, kites that shut off very well and drift downwind. So all these things really changes your foiling experience. And almost like so drastically to the point where if I don't have a 1-strut kite, I'm not going foiling. That's how good it is now.
Compared to like a, say like a surf kite.
Exactly,
example.
like back in the day, surf kites were the foil kites because they drift well.
I remember that.
They go upwind, that's what I started with. I would say the majority of foilers started with that, right? But since there's these new light feeling kites, it's so effortless and so little tension in the bar and so quick to turn, you almost feel like, why go out unless I have a 1-strut? So that's kind of where I'm at, and it's changed the game massively. I'm stoked. The Cabrina 1-strut, the Contra, we make sizes from 11 meter down in 1-strut, and above 11 meter we make 13, 15, and 17 in 3-struts for twin tip riding. So when it comes to struts, 1-struts typically don't really like to be powered up and loaded because there's less arc support. There's a little bit more vibration in the frame.
Yep.
Right? So when you get into your bigger kites and you want to ride it on twin tips, that's why we have 3-struts. And then in the smaller sizes where you're going to be foiling on, we have 1-strut. And that's what really makes it fast, light, nimble, easy to turn, easy to, practice whatever you want to do on a foil with that, right?
Yep.
So overall, it's changed the game massively. I can't live without it, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your take on it?
A few things on what you said there actually. You got my brain spinning. I did do a review actually on the Contra 1-strut last year.
Okay.
And just being stupid, just pure out of curiosity, I actually took it out in like nuking winds.
Right.
Like way overpowered, and just to see like how far they've come. And actually, I was super surprised at like how stable it was, how little flutter there was. I mean, it still sucked compared to a 3-strut kite.
Yeah.
But I was like watching other 3-strut kites like Evos and things, and they had like the same amount of flutter.
Right, and I think that's something really important to hit on. Like, it doesn't mean it doesn't work on a twin tip. It doesn't mean you're not gonna have fun jumping and boosting on it. It's just not designed for doing that specifically. You're gonna have a little bit of vibration. You're gonna sacrifice a little bit of performance on that side for better performance in foiling. And one thing that's really worth mentioning is surfing. Surfing, a lot of times you're going down the line, a little bit less line tension. So 1-strut Contra actually does fall pretty good in the surf category. And myself, it's kind of fell into my quiver as in my travel kite. I bring it almost everywhere because if I have access to a surfboard and I have a foil, I only need the Contra, and I know I'll have one kite to do kind of everything. Yeah. And for the amount I foil versus the amount I surf, it's a perfect balance for me. So it is definitely possible to do a little bit more than just foiling, but it's definitely designed for the lighter winds. And
segueing from that, another point that you've been referencing is I was noticing, we were filming the other day at Kite Point, and I've noticed that with advanced foilers now, there's so much fancy footwork and fancy kite work where you're almost like stalling the kite, swinging around, doing things that you normally wouldn't do, you could do, but would be a lot harder with like a heavier 3-strut
Exactly,
kite.
and that's where the lightweight comes into play. Like the big goal of the 1-strut, the whole purpose of it is to have a lighter frame so you're riding in lighter winds, right? You can go out in 8 knots and the kite's just sitting there, no problem, towards maybe a kite with 5 struts wouldn't. And also by having a lighter kite, it'll spin on a dime way quicker. So when you're cruising downwind, you can literally flip-flop it back and forth and follow any wave, any little chop. It makes it totally amazing. You can stall it back as you're going down, and it really makes a whole rider experience like a whole other level of progression you can get into. And this is something you can't really get into with the 3-strut, 5-strut kites because it gets a little bit too heavy and it doesn't snap back as quick, right?
Definitely.
So you have a little bit extra speed, it's a little bit lighter, it opens the doors to a whole new possibilities of tricks, really.
Yeah, so I guess if any of you are like curious about this, and I think most everybody in the foil world has long ago figured this out, because all the advanced foilers I see are now on single struts or even no struts.
Yes.
Quick note on that. From what I've heard, the single struts seem to have a bit more low end and be a bit more forgiving. So I guess the no strut.
You know what's actually a big point too? Kids.
Yeah.
Kids learning. What, when you're a kid, you're like 10 years old, you can't fly
yeah,
a 10 meter
yeah.
because if you're on a 10, you're overpowered as soon as it flies.
Yep.
So you fly a 1-strut kite in like a 7, the thing flies in 8, 7 knots, no problem. So for kids, for teaching, it's a great kite.
I've seen some instructors in schools doing that.
Exactly.
Actually. I was
Short
wondering
lines
why that makes sense.
It makes total sense because, you know, it just makes it a little bit more simpler for those lighter people, not just kids in general, just someone that's lighter.
Yep.
There's a lot of positives in it. It's changed the sport again for the better. So
totally makes sense.
I'm excited to see where the progression moves forward with where we're heading now with the sport.
Yeah, definitely, man. I appreciate it.
Cheers, buddy.
Hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you got any questions, just drop them in the comments and hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. We'll catch you later.